Today I am talking about the Justin Rhodes method of raising laying hens for your homestead. And I'm talking about the 5 mistakes that you need to avoid when raising chickens like Justin Rhodes. I really like this system, but there's some things that I have learned that I mess up constantly that I want to tell you about. Hey y'all, it's Bo Brotherton with Better Together Life and the Shed to House Facebook group. Okay, so here on YouTube, I am really known as the rabbit and the sourdough guy, but I also absolutely love chickens on a homestead. Of course, every homestead, every farm, you have to have chickens on that homestead. And the traditional way of raising chickens is you have them stationary in a coop. Maybe you do something slightly different than that with like a coop and run to where they work one area, then they work another area, but there is always that central coop there in the middle. This is the system that Justin Rhodes from the Justin Rhodes YouTube channel really came up with and made popular everywhere, and you just see so many people around raising chickens just like this. This is his design. This is called the Chick Shawl. It is just a really cool mobile chicken coop that has so many great benefits that has made a lot of people turn to this way of raising chickens. Okay, so of course what you have, if you're not familiar with the Chick Shawl, you have the Chick Shawl. It is a raised coop. On the bottom, there's 1-inch hardware cloth wire. And so that allows the chickens, all of their manure, to fall straight through and get onto the soil. That's the coolest thing. You do not have to ever clean out a chicken coop. Now, I have never had to clean out a chicken coop, and I have definitely heard that a lot of people, they use that as their compost for their garden. I think that would be great. I understand that. But what I don't want to deal with is I don't want to have to deal with diseases and parasites and all the nasty stuff that goes with having a chicken coop. That just seems gross to me. And I know my personality, and I know that I'm probably not going to clean it out soon enough. It's just not going to be something that I end up wanting to do. So this is where I love this system. And I also love that where my chickens are not living inside of their manure, and I get to spread their manure all around my property. All right, so that's the pros of why you would want to raise chickens like this. Let's go into the big mistakes that you want to avoid. All right, the number one mistake that you need to avoid when raising chickens like Justin Rhodes is not rotating the chick shaw and the netting enough. You have to really rotate your birds. It's a no-brainer, but at the same time, life happens and they kind of sometimes just stay in a spot way too long, like you see this spot right now. Unfortunately, this had a lot of grass in it and the chickens have destroyed it, and it's embarrassing. But this is what I wanted to show you. Before I move them tomorrow, I wanted to be able to show you guys this because it's real life. And that is a huge mistake that you're gonna make. You also need the space. Like right now, see, we have all these trees. Here, I'll show you over here. We have all these trees all over here, and this is on a big old hill. Unfortunately, I cannot get the chick shawl up. I can't rotate it enough. So all of the manure is falling through and being concentrated on a couple of small spots that I can rotate this on. This probably was the absolute worst location for me to keep the chickens in here too long. It's just kind of what happened, and that was number one, not rotating the netting enough, but then also not rotating the chick shawl enough within the netting. Okay, here is the second mistake that you need to avoid: placing your chick shawl too close to the netting. So like I was just now saying, how we have the chick shawl where we can't rotate it enough inside of this netting. It also is a little bit tight. This is only one roll of Premier 1 netting, so it's kind of a smaller little paddock that we have to work with. But with the chick shawl not having a lot of space, it's really close to the net. So we have our ladies that jump up just like this. You see that chicken right there? Then they jump up to the top, and then they super chicken launch themselves from the top of the Chick Shawl roof. Over the net, and then they escape, and then they go play all over the property. So then we kind of have free range chickens, but still I want them to stay in one location. I don't want them to go all over my property and possibly, you know, get killed by predators that I don't see here in all of my woods. I want them to stay within the electric netting. All right, here we go. Number 3, the third mistake that you need to avoid when raising chickens like Justin Rhodes is not having a plan for whenever your hens go broody. That was something that we definitely experienced, is we would get a broody hen. You see the back right over there. That's where the nest boxes are. And it's so far away from like any kind of food or anything, because they don't have any food in their coop. They don't have any water, anything in the coop. They have to completely exit the chick shawl to go and get the food and the water. So whenever you have a broody hen, you need to be able to take that hen, and you need to have another type of structure that gives them security so that they can sit on those beautiful eggs and hatch the new chicks so that you can grow your flock. That's the whole point. And we didn't have that right away. So I ended up needing to retrofit our rabbit tractor in a way to be able to give our broody hen a nice home. So now that we have already made that mistake of not having a space, now we know, we've learned that whenever we have a broody hen, we get the rabbit tractor ready or some other kind of structure so that they can get out of the elements, out of the rain, out of the sun, that they can be more comfortable while they're sitting on the eggs. Here we go, number 4. The fourth mistake that you gotta avoid, not using a long enough ground rod. Okay, so Premier One sells this solar powered energizer. It says that it comes with like these prongs that you can double as both a stand so you can put it into the dirt, as well as a ground rod. Well, I don't know if it's just Texas, but that doesn't work. Like, I don't know what kind of soil you're working with to where that thing works. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. You have to get a legit ground rod, like a big ground rod. That you can drive all the way into the ground in order to make this work. You're gonna ground out this thing, especially as the netting ages. It's going to need a longer ground rod so that it can keep the charge, because whenever we tried this thing just with those little prongs, you could barely even feel the shock on this netting. Once we went back to the ground rod, now we only didn't have that because we used this ground rod for the pigs, and that was whenever it became an aha moment for us. Once we got rid of the pigs, I brought this ground rod back to the chickens, and bam, this sucker was hot. Once again, now I know to not make that mistake. All right, y'all, we were flying through this. We're on the last one, number 5. The 5th mistake to avoid is not following Justin's chick shawl plans perfectly. This is nothing negative. This chick shawl was given to us. We are very grateful. Thank you, Kelly and Andrew, for gifting us this chick shawl. But that is something that I think that we need to be able to address. And I've just seen a lot of people that online that they start with following Justin's instructions. The same thing that happened with our chicken tractor for John Siskovich is people didn't do the half laps and then they paid for it. With this, Justin called for having like a full axle here and getting better tires. And as you can see here, this is all jacked up. It's really hard to move this chick shawl because the wheels are all bowed in like this. It's just something that I need to fix this fall. You have to follow his plans. He's done it like 3 times, y'all, so just follow the plans. All right, y'all, you know me, I can't get out of this without giving you one bonus here. My bonus tip, my bonus mistake that you need to avoid because this is not necessarily exactly for Justin Rhodes. It's really big whenever you mess up like I do and not rotate these birds enough. But the bonus mistake that I want you to avoid when using any kind of electric netting for poultry, especially if you don't rotate them fast enough, you're gonna have a bare patch when they leave. The mistake that you have to avoid is not putting out seed after you move them. So once you rotate an animal, just take a couple of handfuls of seed and just cast it out so that you can really build up that seed bed into your soil, so that even if it doesn't germinate right away, I guarantee you seasons later, something's gonna click. It's gonna be the perfect growing conditions for that seed. Being able to put seed down after you rotate your animals. That's chickens, that would be pigs, maybe not so much like sheep, because sheep, they're not gonna graze all the way to the bottom. Chickens scratch, pigs root up, so they really destroy the property. So you really need to rebuild that seed. All right, y'all, so there it is, my 5 mistakes to avoid when raising chickens like Justin Rhodes. Hey, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And hey, if you did not like this video, would you do me a favor? Give me a thumbs down, I don't mind that, but tell me in the comments below why you didn't like it. That helps me gear my content more to what you guys are looking for. It is a huge help. And also thank you to Justin and Rebecca Rhodes for everything you do, for inspiring us all. We would not be even here on our property if it wasn't for all of the great content that you produce. All right, y'all, we'll see you on the next one.